Most painful podcast I've ever watched by penguinz0. I have no idea what this podcast is about. I just know it's painful, and if it's got to be painful, I have to see it. Obviously, as usual, as was recommended, we'll jump in. We'll jump in.
I actually cannot believe the podcast that I just watched. Who remembers?
It can't be that insane. It can't be that insane. I think it's just overreacting. It can't be this crazy. It can't.
Ned from the Try Guys, huh? Any Ned enthusiasts? Ned Fulmer, yeah, Fulmer family, Ned Fulmer guys, where we at, huh? Well, I'm sure you recall in 2022, there was the huge scandal that went public about how he'd actually been cheating on his wife for quite a while with their producer at the Try Guys. It was a huge deal, of course, led to the dissolving of their marriage. It basically kicked Ned off of the public sphere, and he has remained in the back rooms for the last 3 years. He has just crawled his way out of the shadow realm and surfaced with a podcast called Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. His first guest, his ex-wife, so he could talk directly to her about all of the cheating. It's like podcast.
This can't be good. Oh god, this is gonna... Well, you know what I think of cheaters? I don't think I need to elaborate what I think of cheaters. I've been through it. I'm aware. I don't need to elaborate. I know this. I'm aware of it.
Therapy or some shit. And it actually makes me think podcasting should straight up be illegal or have like some kind of like rigorous vetting protocol.
License. A podcasting license. Bring it. The podcasting license.
In place where you need like a license to own podcasting equipment. This is fucking agonizing. It takes so much to make me turn something off that I've committed to watching. I will stomach any amount of like revolting dog shit this planet has to offer. I could watch Two Girls, One Cup 100 times back to back to back to back to back to back to back without even blinking. But this was too agonizing. I had to turn it off after 30 minutes. It is brutal to sit through. I can only imagine what she...
It can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. Is this just an entire podcast episode of him trying to justify his cheating? Is that what this is going to be? This can't be this bad.
Was feeling with this because he kind of like talks about himself as if he's like some kind of a victim, like a survivor of his own cheating scandal. It's weird.
He is trying to justify it. Guillotine.
Weird. You have to see this.
Strange to think that people are watching this and listening to it rather than just being in like a therapy setting.
Oh heck yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm on the verge of like standing up and walking out of this room. Absolutely.
Understandable.
Understandable, and you should have. You should have. You were cheated on. You should not have anything to do with this pathetic excuse for a man. You should just stand up and leave. But you're not doing that.
And no one on the planet would blame her if she did. I think that is a totally reasonable response. It is still so baffling to me that this even got made in the first place, to be honest. Now, Ned did give like a pre-game speech here, but I just wanted to show you that he did actually sit down with his ex-wife and have an hour-long discussion with her about him cheating and him like prodding her, poking her like, and how did you feel about that? Yeah? Wasn't good, was it? Thought not.
This is a public humiliation ritual. Woman, what are you doing? Lady, what are you doing? This is a public humiliation. No. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would any self-respecting person do that to themselves? Why?
It's so fucking weird.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer. 3 years ago, I cheated on my wife with my producer. It became a massive public scandal that caused a lot of pain to a lot of people.
Is the producer male or female?
I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who talked about his relationship and put that out there for public consumption.
Big wife guy. Ned Fulmer used to be synonymous with wife guy, I think. I don't know. I was never the biggest consumer of Try Guys content, but from what I understand, that was like a core part of his identity, like his whole personality revolving around like being the wife guy. So of course that made everything even worse for him, even though it was already extremely bad. Now, this has been pointed out by a lot of people, and I don't know if this is how he's always been, if he's just this kind of quirky, zany guy who likes vocal fry, but a lot of people mentioned, and it's very clear, he is putting on, like, an extra dollop of vocal fry. It is brutal to listen to. It sounds like out of a cartoon when a character is mocking somebody else. Yeah, I may have presented myself as a wife guy. It's so, like nails on a chalkboard.
And
Women, I'm addressing you 8%. I'm addressing you right now because I need to say this. Psychologically, cheaters never change. They will never change because they lack impulse control. There's a very likely chance that he did not. Technically, cheaters don't cheat, not only cheat on their partners, they technically cheat on themselves because they lack impulse control. And oftentimes, there's likely nothing you can do, and they're repeat offenders. If a man, or actually, also men, if a man or a woman tells you, but women are more forgiving, so mostly addressing women here. If a man is saying that he cheated before in a relationship, then first of all, don't take this man. Second of all, he's gonna be a repeated offender. Cheaters are oftentimes repeated offenders. They will do it again because first and foremost, they don't cheat on you as a partner. They technically cheat on themselves because they betray themselves because they lack impulse control. Done with that.
And you, as a viewer, I know that I broke your trust. One step is to publicly witness the pain of my partner, Ariel. This is a conversation with Ariel in this video. It's painful at times. It's honest, vulnerable, brutal.
But why? Why do you want to broadcast you publicly witnessing the pain you have caused your ex-wife? Why wouldn't this just be a conversation had with like a professional or just between you two behind closed doors? Why do we?
Because people are retarded and do want to, first of all, it might actually be into it and maybe he wants to humiliate her. I don't know. Could be. Second of all, we live in a time where everything just gets like put on the internet, right? Every relationship drama, every whatever freaky weird shit you have done, because again, for some odd reason, people really love to tell others how much they suck for some odd reason. I don't know. It's just weird. Or whatever they're going through when they should be keeping that to themselves. And people don't even realize that this might be weaponized later on. And this will be weaponized later on. Also, real restraint not created by forgive someone's crime. True.
Need to be invited into this. This is him just making like a public spectacle and trying to like get back into the internet zone. So he drags his ex-wife in here to try and like reopen the wounds here publicly so that way he can paint it as him like taking the accountability, this public flogging that he's going to give himself, listening to all the pain and suffering
he is trying to save his career. And I hope it doesn't work.
Caused her. And the whole podcast is him kind of like prodding like, and how did my cheating make you feel? Did it make you feel bad? Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah. No, that sounds, I know it made you feel bad. Yeah. No, it sounds about right. It made you feel bad, right? All while he's filming it to try and milk this devastating event that she's gone through for his own personal views and his own attempt at a comeback. That's how it seems. The catchphrase, I believe, for his podcast, which you can find on his About section, sometimes the only way out is through one podcast at a time. That is the slimiest shit. Oh my god.
As disappointed as we were that something so private and painful became such a public spectacle, I get why people were so outraged, and I understand that that is the reason that she can't move forward with any sort of public thing without addressing this. So this is that. This is...
I'm going to have to call Dirty Barnacles on that right there. I don't buy that reasoning at all. He is literally launching a podcast off the back of his ex-wife being the first guest in it. And he's trying to paint it like he's doing this so that way she can move on.
He's also essentially farming her pain for content. Despicable man.
Because all of this went public and, you know, it's taken such a huge toll and she wouldn't be able to do public things because this would get brought up from the past. So this is how we're both going to heal and move forward. Like, I completely understand that for her in particular, her having any other, like, public-facing job or something, this would be brought up. I get that. And that is very difficult, no doubt. But this does not seem like Ned Fulmer just trying to do something to help her not have to deal with something like that.
I feel like this is a necessary thing.
Yeah, we've kind of been just keeping our lives very private for the last 3 years.
We have.
Just almost hiding from the world.
We've been hiding. We've been hiding from the world. And I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of great.
Now, I felt I needed to include this section.
Woman, why are you sitting around with this failure of a man? Ditch him. You can find better. You can find better. Well, you probably have already, but you shouldn't sit with that man in the room again. Please, I beg of you, please.
Here, because she is saying that she believes it was also somewhat necessary to publicly discuss this finally after so long, but that the time they spent away she's felt is kind of great. But since this was a public thing, it seems like she agrees that there needed to be some kind of like public resolution to it to move on. Now, I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit here. I don't think it's necessary. You do not owe strangers online an explanation to how private matters were handled. Yes, this did happen in the public eye with the scandal, you know, blowing up and the cup runneth over on Ned's unfaithfulness, but that doesn't mean that you need to do anything further publicly just for the internet to bear witness to. But if you do feel like there is like some kind of obligation to have some kind of like public, you know, closure to it, is this really the best way to do it? Because to me, it really feels like Ned is using this as a self-serving thing. This is the
Again, I think he's using it to save his career. The problem is that he should technically just be, what's the word? This should have not been on the internet. This should have been between you two and the professional, or just between you two. Why are you opening up her wounds to others on the internet and also just straight up in public? I do not understand this. This looks like a humiliation ritual. It just looks like a humiliation ritual.
Kickoff to his podcast, and this is obviously something he knew would get a lot of views. To me, it feels more like a calculated business call as opposed to something to try and help both of them like heal and move forward.
Myself to strangers, it's like, oh, let's exchange Instagrams. I'm like, well,
right? Here's
mine, but couple of caveats. One, I have a lot more followers than you might expect. Two, all of this is pretty outdated. And three, don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
You
Just
probably don't want to Google me.
Get to know me first. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You don't want to be just sort of seen as.
See, the good thing about him cheating is everybody knows he's a cheater now. You can just easily Google this. So every woman can, thankfully, very much avoid this failure.
It's the sum of your mistakes for me, or the sum of your past for you.
I cut a lot of this section out here, but Ariel mentioned how like making friends has been a little weird because of all of this, because they'll come into it with some kind of like preconception based on what they've seen from the public and such, and Ned immediately is like, well, actually, me too. I'm going through something similar. I'll try and make a friend, introduce myself, and they like ask for my Instagram. I'm like, whoa, bump the brakes, buddy. Instagram, I don't know about that. Whatever you do, don't Google Ned Fulmer. Definitely don't do that. You know, you don't want to be viewed with some of your mistakes, or I guess in your case, Ariel, the sum of the past. Am I right? Yeah, we're kind of like two peas in a pod when it comes to this problem we're both experiencing.
The difference is though, that his is like self-made, right? His problems finding like friends, so to speak. Though I don't know who would ever want to be friends with somebody like that. His is like self-inflicted. Hers is not.
Experiencing, and he's like trying to like meet her in the middle there, like relate to her. But Ariel did nothing wrong. Ariel is completely a victim in all of this, who is now sharing like how it has affected her, even like socially making friends. And Ned's like, oh, me too. I'm super victimized by it as well. Like they Google Ned Fulmer, they see I fucking cheated on my wife, and they don't want to be my friend. It's so weird, right? Like you and I were going through like the same thing on this. Am I right? Like this is.
I wouldn't want to be friends either. I would not be friends either. Like, if the moment I find out somebody's cheating, I'm like, I'm good.
What I'm talking about, where I feel like Ned's not actually trying to, like, help, you know, move forward here. It really feels like this is just his springboard for the podcast.
We are still friends. We have children together. We go on trips together.
That makes it even worse. That makes it even worse. They have children. That makes it just infinitely worse. Why did you do this to your wife and your children? Why?
Right.
Like, you know, there's a spectrum of being together, not together.
Right.
Like there's ways in which we're together, but it's like the way that everyone wants to know, like, are you guys still like an item? Are you guys still a couple? Like, no.
Of course you're not a couple. This man cheated. Obviously. Why would you want to be a couple still? It makes sense, right? Look it up and then you know. Stupid.
We really haven't been at all this last 3 years.
No, we haven't.
So I've been saying ex-wife this whole time, but now that I'm rewatching this section, that's not the case. Apparently they are still technically married, but they are separated. They are not, like, dating. They're not a couple anymore, but they're not divorced either. And I think that might have been covered later in the podcast, but like I said, I could not stomach this whole thing. It's actual misery. It is literally like this miasma of, like sadness. So I didn't finish the episode where that might have been a.
So you did not break, like you did not divorce. Interesting. Don't tell me she's going to attempt to fix her relationship. Don't tell me.
But this whole time I've been saying ex-wife. But that, I guess, is not the case. What is for sure, though, is that they are not together, and she has not forgiven Ned for what he's done.
People ask me, like, do you forgive Ned for what he did? And, I mean, the answer is no. Absolutely not. How can you forgive somebody for lying to you, for cheating on you? No. Fuck no. Like, I don't even, it's
good decision on your part. Very good decision on your part. Cheaters are to not be forgiven ever. Very good on her part.
Sorry, I saw red for a minute. It's like, no, the answer is no.
Yeah, that checks out. You should not forgive somebody that has done what Ned Fulmer has done to you. Absolutely not. And I'm really happy to see her just come down with the iron fist like, fuck no. Absolutely not. And Ned just sits there, hitting one of these.
It's hard to hear you saying, like, fuck no, I don't forgive you. Of course I get it. I mean, you're still, as much progress as we've had, you're still very angry.
Yeah, of course I'm angry. You know, we're talking about, like...
This is where I started getting, like, a little...
This is, right, this is the greatest betrayal you could ever do to somebody. And people are like, oh, she's gonna be over it. She's gonna be you can't get over it. No, you actually can't. See, trauma that is created in a relationship can only be fixed by another relationship. See, you cannot fix the fear of getting cheated on, right? This is permanent, he did permanent damage to this woman, right? Permanent damage. You can no longer fix the damage that has been done. It will get less, but it will always be around. The fear of getting cheated on will always persist. He has done permanent damage to this woman, and she will never fully recover from this. This is one of the greatest betrayals you can ever do to a person. Straight up. No denial. There's a smart quote I like to take with me. There's no second chances to create first impressions. Okay, interesting. If you cheat and disown the trust, eat the consequences. He certainly is eating.
Wiggle worm-esque, where I was like kind of squirming in my seat a little bit, because now it's getting much more into the meat and potatoes of like the cheating itself, which Ned is spearheading the conversation of. So he's like, yeah, it hurts to hear you don't forgive me, but, you know, I get it. We made a lot of progress, but you're still angry. And it's like, yeah, man, of course you're still going to be angry, but why are you using that as a piece of content for you?
Still feels like a humiliation ritual.
Your podcast launch. And you can see how difficult this topic is for her. She then goes into detail about how everything unfolded for her, where she got this news from fans, and she was being sent pictures, and she starts going through, like, what that was like for her emotionally. And it's really, really sad. And then immediately following that, this is Ned's question.
How did having it become such a public scandal kind of change everything for you? Did it make it worse? Did it make it easier? Did it just sort of make it surreal?
It was so many different things.
His questions suck shit through a crazy straw. These questions are fucking terrible, man. Brother, what? Did it going public, you know, I was cheating on you for a long time and then everyone found out. They were the ones that told you, by the way, not me. Did that make it, like, easier for you, you think? Just explain that to me a little bit, if you don't mind, about how...
This is humiliating. This is a public humiliation. Oh, no. Now we're really starting to get the public humiliation part. Slowly, but surely. Girl, I would have just stood up and left. Why are you giving this dude even the time of the day? I know he's the father of your children, okay? But man,
how public it was. What was that like being in the middle of that, if you don't mind? And then his next question, I think, is his worst one.
What was that moment like when everything changed for you?
Awful, obviously.
What was that moment like, huh? Hey,
yeah. This is a rhetorical question. You know the answer. Hi, Alexia. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Hello.
Excuse me, if you don't mind, can you walk me through exactly what it felt like when you found out that your husband, whom you have children with, has actually been cheating on you for a very long time? Can you please describe in detail what you felt?
How does it feel that I fucked another woman? You could have just asked this bluntly. That's literally what the question is. How do you feel that I slept with another person? How does that make you feel?
When you learned that information about me. I'd love to know, if you don't mind. If that isn't the most brain-dead fucking question I've ever heard, Ned, it probably didn't feel good. What does asking this question even do to help either of you, like, heal from this? Please, walk me through the trauma when you learn that your husband, have been cheating on you for quite a long time. This is something, again, like I said, that should have been, like, with a therapist, not a microphone. Microphones do not do that job. And I'm assuming over the last 3 years, and based on the conversation, they have talked, you know, in detail with each other and with others about this. Why bring it up for the sake of cameras to capture it for your podcast? That's why I'm saying this feels like it is all truly self-serving for Ned to try and, like,
How do you use... exactly. This is like a... Look how much of a good dude I am. Look how great I am. Look how, see, I'm trying to fix things. I'm trying to set things straight. There is no thing setting straight. I think you should be castrated.
Gain some kind of audience online.
I think there was a lot of sort of delusions and rationalizations that you, as the person doing that, sort of are telling yourself as to why it's not so bad, or why it's going to be okay, or why actually this talked about it in this way. And then it's like, I remember that moment, it all just kind of like fell down where I...
This one I'm going to take a little pause break for, like a little halftime show moment here, because he's about to get into the most painful part, and this is when I turned it off. And what I want
He is going into the... Is he going into the justification of cheating? This might actually... Not gonna lie, this might actually be the worst podcast. The most painful podcast. Oh, yeah. This might actually be up there, for sure.
to make a mention of here is, for some reason, Ned is the one at the helm here. He's in the driver's seat and is basically, and this is something I saw like August the Duck point out as well, he is mainly talking
August the Duck mentioned.
About like moments, as opposed to like talking about how much he himself fucked up. He is entirely to blame for this, yet he is the one that gets to steer the conversation and talk kind of broadly about it and focus on like, this moment. What did you feel in that moment? As opposed to like letting her talk about it and letting her kind of dictate where the conversation goes and the questions and that kind of thing. It is so odd, and it does feel unfair that Ned is the one that is spearheading all of it. It doesn't make sense, given that he is the one, the cheater, that did all of this, and yet he gets to be the one in control of this conversation here that supposedly he's doing to try and help her, you know, move forward in like a public-facing environment.
Totally could see how devastated and just completely traumatized you were. And then it was just like, oh, everything changed for me as well. I'm like, oh no, this is like, I've been hurting this person that I love this whole time.
You didn't realize until then?
Well, you know, but then there's other things you tell yourself to come.
Woman just said up, leave. His voice pissed me off. Yeah, this low rumbly thing what he's doing, right? He's not really open your fucking mouth, open your throat. Like, why you were talking like this is so annoying, dude. Bro, what is this? I think she doesn't just get up and leave the room. Not that she doesn't feel betrayed of some sort, but she might trust the guy who hosts the interview. I mean, there might be some rest level of trust in this man, right? There might be some rest level of trust in this dude. This is still so... This is so uncomfortable.
Kind of, sort of compartmentalize, or I guess.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. Like I said, it is a tough watch. And like I said, Ned really does feel like he talks about like these like excuses and how he's like compartmentalizing and like...
Ned, I have a request. Free-run yourself. Anyways, hi Toast, how are you doing? Hope you're doing good, alright? I'm in this stream. Hopefully it ain't as freaky as the last one. Nah, everything's normal now.
You know, lying to himself, deluding himself, that kind of thing. Like, it almost feels like he's giving himself these, like, little weaselly ways in which that, you know, like, he calls it a scandal, whereas she says directly, your affair, is another thing. Like, he talks about it as a scandal, as opposed to, like, how badly he himself fucked up making this decision consciously. And now he's talking about, like, yeah, no, it was, like, never realized, you know, with all the ways I was, like, lying to myself, that I was actually, like, hurting the person that I love. And she calls that out, saying, like, You didn't realize that? You didn't realize at any point that, you know, maybe what you were doing would be like really hurtful and like really devastating? He's like,
cheating is like a how do I put this? It's like progressive, right? You have like multiple options to, like, multiple times you can say no. There's multiple times where you can say no. This just doesn't start with, oh, actually, we just straight up slept. Like, this doesn't go straight up sleeping with each other. There's like multiple times where we can say no, right? And that's not what he did. Ned, go to 2 places of vocal coach and therapy. Neither of those will help, bro.
no, I just yeah, with the way you compartmentalize, and you know, and yeah, like it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal to sit through.
It's sort of a, you know, it's like a addictive cycle, kind of feeling really guilty and ashamed, and then telling yourself the ways in which it's, you know, kind of just lying to yourself, and then, yeah.
This is so awkward. There's so much silence in this. This is awkward as fuck. There's so much silence in this. There's so much silence in this. It's so awkward.
That sigh said 1,000 things without even needing words. Ned, what the fuck? He's just bumbling. Like, he is actually spitting mumbo jumbo. He's not...
He is yapping! Not in a professional way.
He's saying nothing. Literally nothing.
Of like, well, what did you do to make him look elsewhere? You know, were you not a good enough wife? Were you not, did you not make him happy enough? You know? And there's
No. We have it from psychology. We have it. Cheaters are not made. Oftentimes, it's oftentimes in their nature. It doesn't matter if it was you. It could have been any other woman, and you still would have done it. Reason being, he has no impulse control. That's really it. He has 0 impulse control. Her eyes. She needs to be careful in her interview. It looks like she's being somehow attacked. I would have probably already choked the man. I would have choked the man and then yeeted him out of a window or something. I don't know. I've done something. I would have done something. I don't know. It's just horrible. It's just, this entire podcast is horrible.
so much shame there. And I'm so tired of holding that. I'm so tired of holding it.
Unfortunately, this is a very real thing that she's describing right here, where there are people that when they hear about a husband cheating on their wife, their first response is, well, what did the wife do to make the husband do that? Must have been her fault. What, this harlot? What, she must have done something wrong. Must have been some kind of harpy over there. No, surely it was the wife's fault that Ned Fulmer would go elsewhere to find a suitable woman worthy of his benevolent being. And she's talking about how much that has weighed on her. And she then directly asks him, how does it make you feel hearing this? That you did this to me. You have basically, put this hex on me in some people's eyes that will not go away.
How does it make you feel to hear that?
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was. If it if you really like let it sink in just how much you're hurting your partner and how devastating it is, like, how could you do that? It's still very...
I've noticed throughout the clips you've seen, he has not once really taken accountability for what he has done. He does not take accountability for what he has done. Like right now, he's just like mumbling and yapping, but he does not, oh yeah, you don't deserve this. It's not fair by society. You know what's not fair? You cheating. That's not fair. Yeah, Ned is the cheater. How do you not notice that? Ned is the cheater. He's talking about himself here.
Difficult now, even 3 years later, to see you in pain as you're talking about that. Because there's nothing I can do to change the past or to help.
This right here sums up the Ned attitude for this. This is a very manipulative answer, in my opinion. She is giving a very real account of something that she now has had put upon her because of Ned. Even outside of like the devastation to the marriage, there are people that will look at her a certain way because of what he has done. And she is now saying
that is how it works. Yes. That is how it is. He is fucked for the rest. Like his love life is fucked for the rest of his life, right? Because to be fair, depending on how this works, if he can kickstart like his career from this again, I hope he can. But if he does, there might be a woman stupid enough. Anyways, but he's cooked. But she has to deal with the problem, right? She has to now deal with the problem of people questioning why her husband cheated, even in future relationships. That's the issue. In fact, this man's whole persona is in the Try Guys was the guy who's doing husband a family, who's adopting husband a family man, and this is what he did to her and to their family. That's right. He has not mentioned also once the children. The children were not mentioned once. When they are likely suffering and might possibly even just as much, absolutely, she's the victim. Yeah, obviously she's the victim, but he wants to occasionally spin like that he can relate and that he's also in some way a victim. The only thing you're a victim of is your own animalistic behavior.
How do you feel about that? Is that something you've considered? And Ned, instead of like even addressing like, yes, I did this to you, I recognize I did this to you, he instead says, I feel really bad that unfortunately society does this. Ned, you did this to her. Yes, it is sad that society will do that. But whether or not you want to acknowledge it doesn't change the reality that it does happen, and it is something she has to live with now as a result of your actions. He softly tiptoes around it, instead focusing more on like the problem that society has with this perception that they'll put on people. I'm so sorry you're going through that, honey. What a shame. This is what I'm saying. He kind of like cushions his cheating. Like, for instance, he mainly refers to it as a scandal. Ariel's not afraid to say, like, your affair and, like, what you did, but when Ned's talking about it, it's like, oh, I was lying to myself.
Again, he's trying to save his career. This isn't really that crazy. I hate cheaters. I hate cheaters. I want them all out. I don't want to breathe the same... I don't want to breathe the same air as this man. I don't want to breathe... I want to live on the same planet. Send this man to another planet and every cheater with him. I don't care. Whose actions, the dude cheated.
You know, with this scandal, this scandalous stuff, that kind of thing. Like, he really likes that nomenclature. It just feels like he is very much trying to, like, soften it a bit. So, I just don't buy from his side that this was supposed to try and help Ariel in some way. I don't get that feeling from him. And far be it for me to question how Ariel wants to move forward from all of this. If she does feel this is the best way of doing it, then I would then ask, why did Ned take over most of the conversation? Maybe it changes towards the end of the podcast, I'm not really sure. But for the 38-ish minutes or whatever that I watched before just tapping out, it was all Ned that would lead these talks and control it. He would just try and...
Hot take. I think that cheating should be a crime, and I think that there should be a list, right? We have like sex offender lists, right? We have like a list for sex offenders why not have a list for that either? Like that too, and make it a crime that you can get sued over if you have actual evidence. Of course, you would need to go to like varying degrees, right? Right? Like, is it just like emotional? Is it physical? Obviously, but yeah, that's how I see it.
Poke a, like, how did you feel when I cheated? So that way she would talk about how awful it was, and he'd just sit there nodding his head. But it was always him taking the discussion where he wanted it to go. And every step of the way, I really got the feeling that Ned was playing just how awful what he did was. This was an awful thing to sit through. Like, it truly was fucking brutal. And I just had to share a little of this with you.
What a train wreck. That's pretty much the end of the video. What a train wreck. This should have... Here's my full statement. She should have never agreed to it. They should have never made it public. This feels like a public humiliation for her. I don't know what she was thinking when she did this. Probably she has still some rest faith in him, whatever. He should not be forgiven. Not by her. Not by their children. Not by the people watching them. And that's that. Cheaters can kick a bucket. I don't care. I don't care. The world is better without these people. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.